What's going on, Maverick fans? Welcome into NBA Now from Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, and today I'm breaking down 5 role players and their stat predictions for 2019-2020 with the Dallas Mavericks. Now, we already did a video on 5 other players that I believe are going to be important pieces to the Mavs. We predicted Luka, Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dwight Powell, and Jalen Brunson stats. Now we're going to get into some more role players, starting with Delon Wright. Yeah, he's going to probably be the new starting point guard in Dallas this next season. Of course, over the summer, they acquired him via a sign and trade. They paid him, and then obviously they signed him by trading a couple draft picks to the Memphis Grizzlies to make sure that they wouldn't match his restricted contract. Now, last year, Delon Wright split time between Toronto and Memphis. Of course, Toronto made that deal to get Marc Gasol from the Memphis Grizzlies. And the numbers that Delon Wright put up last season weren't bad. 8.7 points per game, 3.3 assists, 3.5 rebounds. 3-point percentage, not his thing by any means. But when you look at the time that the difference between the time he spent with the Raptors and the Grizzlies, you can see that there was a difference. Toronto, 7 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 33% from 3. Then he goes over to Memphis, of course, a tanking team. They're not the NBA final winners like the Raptors. Memphis, 12.2 points per game, 5.3 assists, 5.4 rebounds, and then the 3-point percentage dips off because, of course, his usage rate was so much higher over there with the Memphis Grizzlies. But with that increased usage rate, you see increased numbers like the minutes, or like the points, like the assists, like the rebounds. So he comes over to Dallas, where he's probably going to be a starter, and here's what I think he's going to put up. Closer to his numbers in Memphis. 11.2 points per game, 5 assists. Of course, he's a really good passer, a good playmaker, and 3.4 rebounds. And then you see the 34.5% from 3, and you're like, Jimmy, how does he jump from 25.6% in Memphis to 34.5% in Dallas next year? Well, here's the deal. 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, he shot 36.6% from 3 with the Raptors. Now, he's coming off the bench. He had a really good role with that Raptors team. And in Dallas, now he's a starting point guard. I think that 3-point percentage will go up because of the open looks he's going to get. Now, I predict him to be the starter. I think the Mavs expect him to start. I think most people do, but maybe you disagree. So who should start in the backcourt with Luka Doncic? Maybe you think it's Seth Curry. Maybe you do think it's Delon Wright. Maybe you're on the Jalen Brunson train. Heck, maybe you want the veteran JJ Barea in there. Let me know in the comments section below. And speaking of Seth Curry, he's our next player. We're going to predict his stats. Now, Seth, of course, already spent some time with the Dallas Mavericks, 2 years. In fact, in one of those years, he didn't play because of an injury. He's a great shooter then. He's a great shooter now. He went over to Portland. He's still doing great things. And now they bring him back because 3-point shooting was a major, major need the Dallas Mavericks needed. And he addressed that need. You know, last season in his time with the Portland Trailblazers, 7.9 points per game. Not really doing anything else except shooting the 3 at 45%. And you know what? That's just fine, because he did it so well that he was one of the top 3-point shooters last season. Of course, Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets claimed that spot. He was the best 3-point shooter in the league. Right behind him, Danny Green at 45.5%, which is only 0.5% better than Seth Curry at 45%. So 3 great 3-point shooters. Seth Curry right up there with him. Now, next year, he comes into Dallas. What is he going to do? Double digits, 10.8 points per game. I think that's exactly what you need out of him. He needs to come off the bench, give you a scoring punch. Again, the assists, the rebounds, not really worried about that. That's not his role. And then the 3-point percentage, I'm going to be a little ambitious here and say it goes up. And he shoots 46.3% because he's playing with a guy like Luka Doncic that's going to get him open looks because he'll draw in defenses, and then he'll kick it out for the open pass. Along with Porzingis, Curry's going to be wide open on the wing. He's going to be wide open in the corners. I am so excited for Seth Curry on this Dallas Maverick team. But will Seth Curry be Dallas's best 3-point shooter next season? Will it be someone else? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. I'm going to say yes because, I mean, that's literally all he's going to do is shoot that 3 ball. But maybe you disagree and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Let's move on to Boban Marjanovic. Everybody loves Bobby, I know, but we're going to talk a little bit more about him. Of course, he came over from Philadelphia in the summer as a free agent. He spent some time with the Clippers, traded to Philadelphia in the Tobias Harris trade. The Bobby-Toby love duo is finally broken up, but the Mavs like him. He's going to play that real kind of banger down low type role for the Mavs because Porzingis isn't that. He's not going to bang with the big guys. That's what Boban will do. Now, last season, total, this is between his time with the Clippers and the 76ers, 7.3 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, didn't block a lot of shots, but the field goal percentage, efficient as always, because that's what Boban does. He plays about 10 to 15 minutes a night. He goes in, he's productive, he gets out. Now, next year, this one wasn't as fun to predict his stats. I get it because it wasn't really a big jump here, but I will give him a little bit of an edge in the points per game at 7.5. I think he improves a little bit in Dallas. The rebounds, however, will go up because this Dallas Maverick team has no real rebounders. Boban is that. So when he comes in for his 10 to 15 minutes a night, all of a sudden, he shoots up the rebounding per game. Block shots didn't really mess with that, and same with the field goal percentage. I think you can't get much more efficient than 62%. Now, let's move on to something real fun. Mavs fans, I know you're watching the NFL right now. I know you're watching your Dallas Cowboys or whichever team you're a fan of. It's okay. We don't hold anything against you here on Chat Sports. Well, I watched the Cowboys this weekend. I watched them without commercials thanks to My TV Choice. So here's what you got to do. Go chatsports.com/mytv. Download the My TV Choice app. Skip right through all of the commercials by watching incredible Chat Sports content during the commercial break. And then we'll get you right back to your NFL game. That's chatsports.com/mytv. Now, let's move on to Justin Jackson. This is the guy that I expect to start at the small forward position next season for the Dallas Mavericks. Of course, last year, right around that trade deadline, he came in and what's now kind of looked at as a sort of controversial trade. You know, should the Mavs have ever even given up Harrison Barnes? But Dallas loves Justin Jackson, and they freed up the money from Harrison Barnes. And plus, I think Jackson fits better with this Maverick team than Harrison Barnes did, but that's a subject for another day. We're talking about his stats for next year. So last season, split time again with the Kings and the Mavs, 7.2 points per game, 1.2 assists, 2.6 rebounds, 35.5% from three. I wasn't really happy with that. I think he's a better three-point shooter than his percentage leads on. But look, I love Justin Jackson. I think the Mavericks love Justin Jackson. I do believe he'll start on this team next year, and this is what I predict the starting five to look like. We've talked about it a lot on this show. Delon Wright, that's your starting point guard. We just talked about him. He's expected to take a huge step forward. Luka Doncic, obviously the reigning Rookie of the Year. And then Justin Jackson, that's your three. He's probably going to compete with guys like Dorian Finney-Smith, like Tim Hardaway Jr. Maybe even you slide Luka to the 3 and Curry to the 2. Jackson's going to have to prove himself, but I do think he'll be able to. And then, of course, you've got Porzingis and Powell as your big-time front court. So what does Justin Jackson do next year? Here's what I've got predicted for him. 11.1 points per game, 1.8 assists, and 2.8 rebounds. Not really worried about those assists and rebounds, but the three-point percentage. This is another guy that's going to benefit from having a full season under his belt with Luka Doncic, and he's going to shoot 38.5% from three. That's my prediction on Justin Jackson. I think he's going to be a big-time player in a starting role for the Mavs. So I expect him to be a big improved player, but maybe not the most improved. Who will Dallas's most improved player be next season? I'm going to go with Delon Wright. You know, I think his role is going to take a huge step forward. I think as a point guard, it's going to really benefit him playing on this team and in Rick Carlisle's system. I'll go Delon Wright. Let me know who you guys think. Maybe you think it's Justin Jackson. Maybe you think it's Dwight Powell. Maybe you think it's Maxi Kleber, which is the guy we're going to be talking about next. Of course, the other big German. Now Dirk is gone. He is no longer the big German. It's now Maxi Kleber in Dallas. And look, he got a nice little pay raise this summer, $35.9 million contract. And hey, he's earned it. I mean, he came in as an undrafted free agent. He's proven himself in this Dallas Maverick organization as a reliable stretch 4, really almost a stretch 5 now. And, you know, when you think of 3 and D type players, you don't think of big men. But that's what Maxi Kleber is. He blocks shots on one end, he goes to the other, and he knocks down the 3 ball. So last season, of course, with Dallas, the only team he's played for, hopefully he retires here, 6.8 points per game, 4.6 rebounds, the 1.1 blocked shots per game. That is the most by a Maverick this past season. And then the three-point percentage at 35.3%. All pretty solid numbers. That's why he earned himself a nice little pay raise in free agency. But with that pay raise becomes raised expectations. So I think he meets him, and next year he gets up to that 9.4 points per game. His rebounding is going to have to take a step up because, as I said earlier, the Mavs do not have any rebounding. So I think he goes 5.8 rebounds per game next year. 1.7 blocks. Yeah, him and Porzingis down low is going to be a feared rim protecting duo. And then the 3-point percentage takes another little jump at 36.5%. Again, something that you get when you play with quality players like Porzingis and Luka Doncic are open looks from beyond the 3-point arc. That's what Maxi Kleber is going to get. He's got to show that he's got to make them, and I do think he'll be able to. So, Mavs fans, final question for you here. How optimistic are you about the Mavs 2019-2020 season? I want it on a scale of 1 to 10. Now, 1 being, nope, we're missing the playoffs. We're going to end up back in the lottery. 10 being, hey, playoff bound, maybe even a top 4 seed, whatever it may be. Look, I'm a rather optimistic Mavs fan. If you want to know what I think, if you want to know my ranking of my optimism for the Mavs, leave your comment below and I'll reply and let you know.